here today, then that's the wrong goal. Your goal today should not be, let me find the healthcare plan that is right for them. That is not your goal today. Your goal today needs to be getting to know this person as well as possible, getting to know the type of person that this person is. I've heard Bob say something several times, and the first time I heard it, I thought to myself, I've heard this before, kind of cheesy. Second time I've heard it, I was like, I've heard this a million times before. Yeah, it has some relevance in the space. But the more and more Bob says it, the more I realize, this really isn't that cheesy at all. It's honestly, it's gospel truth. Is that if you don't ask, you're not going to get. And there are people in this industry all day long who are asking. You need to be a professional asker in this business in order to be able to uncover sales and to be able to get those sales. If you're not asking for those sales, they're not going to have a chance to say no, and they're not going to have a chance to say yes. You are choosing for that person that the product isn't a good fit for them, and that's not the right thing to do. Unless they truly don't understand and you're looking at yourself as a professional, there are going to be times when you should make that decision for someone because they know the way to go, and you need to be the advisor. But don't choose that this is not going to be a product to present to someone if they have it in their budget. It can be a good fit. You just don't want to present. You're afraid of getting that no. You're afraid of not getting the close. You're afraid of that rejection. We got to get past that process. So if you are writing down bullet points, and if you've got your notepad, I want you to write your point number one, and I'm going to write these down with you. I had a piece of scratch paper, and I lost it. Our point number one, when we walk into a process, is our fact finding. So that needs to be number one. We need to go into our fact-finding process, and we need to identify what that fact-finding process actually looks like. Now, I have a CRM, and I don't know if all of you have a CRM, if some of you do, if none of you do, some of you don't. But inside my CRM, we have it structured so that there's a certain list of questions that we ask. And you don't necessarily need to write this down, but our workflow on our questions is, what's your first name? What's your last name? What's your date of birth? What's your spouse's name? Okay, we're writing these things down. What's your spouse's date of birth? What's your email address, etc. Once we get past the formalities and the general information, we're getting into what type of healthcare coverage do you like now? If there's anything about your healthcare coverage that you wish you could change, what would it be? That's a big one. Okay. If there's anything that you could change about your healthcare coverage, what would it be? And give them a second to think about this. Give them a second to ask themselves, what would I change about my healthcare coverage? And if they say, oh, well, nothing, there's nothing about it that I would change. Say, well, are you sure? Could you give it a second? If there's one thing that you wished was better about your healthcare plan, what would that one thing be? And then give them an opportunity to think about it. A lot of times people will say, well, I do kind of wish I had more dental, or I do kind of wish I had a bigger network, or I do kind of wish that I didn't have such a high deductible. These are all things that you need to write down, because these are all going to be, and I don't want this to sound too salesy, but these are all going to be pieces of bait that you are going to use to help that person realize that the products that you are going to propose are now going to be a fit for them, because they're telling you what's going to be a fit for them. And if you've got someone who's just not giving you anything and they're saying, okay, I really don't know, then you could say to them, okay, well, let me, and I do this a lot with my clients. I will say to my clients regularly, if they are not giving me any feedback, they're not giving me anything to work with, and they say, well, I don't know the differences between the different health plans. I really don't understand any of this. We probably hear that all the time. Then I will say, okay, perfect. Well, I have a lot of clients. Some clients say, hey, when I ask them, what are you looking for in a health plan? If you don't know what you would want to change, what would you be looking for in a health plan? Okay, some of my clients are looking for a broader network. They don't necessarily care so much about price, but they care about expansion. They care about being able to go to any doctor they want, price doesn't matter. There are some clients that think to me, hey, this is the real world. They say, this is the real world, Brent. I don't have just an endless budget to be able to pay whatever I want to pay for convenience. I want lower costs, and I'm willing to work within a tailored network as long as there's good doctors there. I'm willing to work within a smidge more confinement as long as the care is good, the benefits are really great. I really need dental, I really need vision, I really need these things. What is it? What's most important to you? Is there anything that I'm saying right now that is ringing any bells for you? Okay. And then as we're going through that, I'll ask them, do you guys have long-term care coverage? Now, this is where a lot of agents in our business are going to start getting nervous, because a lot of you guys have not done any training on how to sell long-term care insurance. Okay, that's okay. But that's a question that I always ask. So we've asked, if there's anything you could change about your insurance, what would it be? What would you change? So we're writing that down. The next question, and this is something that you can ask again, even if they do give you responses to that, or if they don't, okay, what are you looking for? This is where we said we start giving them options. Some people they're willing to spend extra money on a monthly basis so that they can have a bigger list of doctors that they work with. Some people are just trying to make sure that the doctors that they have fit within a network with a plan that is going to offer them the most competitive pricing. Some people are really wanting dental and vision. Some people don't really care about those kinds of things. They just want the most freedom and flexibility that they can get. What are you looking for? What type of insurance buyer are you? Okay. So we need to write these things down because we need to have a clear fact-finding process. What type of insurance buyer are you? What are you looking for? Then, do you have long-term care insurance? Now, if you guys feel like you're going to get pushback on asking some of these questions, then we've not done a very good warm-up. We have not gone through the process of allowing that customer or potential customer, we have not gone through the process of helping them get comfortable with who we are and what we do. So prior to any of these things, when we're doing an introduction, and I'm not trying to help you with introduction 101 here today. This is more of like fact finding and mining for these specific types of sales. But sometimes we have to maybe go back and we have to explain to these people, I'm an insurance advisor. I understand that we got here together to take care of your Medicare, but there's a lot of areas that Medicare does not cover. And there's a lot of areas where it applies to your health, but Medicare doesn't cover it. And that's the big thing, guys. It applies to your health, but Medicare doesn't cover it. And we would think that Medicare would cover these things, Mrs. Jones. But unfortunately, Medicare doesn't cover long-term care. And so the fear and the problem that a lot of people can fearfully, or they can, in reality, they will run into is that Medicare is not covering long-term care. Long-term care can become a reality for this person. They can rack up huge, tremendous costs. It could be a temporary thing. It could be a very long-term thing. It could be a short-term thing or a long-term thing. But people will need care at some point. They'll run into it if they do. Not everybody, but some people will run into that. And if they do and Medicare is not covering it, it could be a really bad situation for you. And if you are spending more money on that kind of thing that you're not prepared to spend money on, then let's say you have a Medicare supplement, you don't have enough money to keep paying that premium. Now you have to choose. What are you going to continue to pay for on a monthly basis? So this is where we say, my goal is to help you understand, and this is a big one for me. I say this in every meeting I sit down with someone with. I say, my goal is not to just show you what Medicare covers. My goal is to show you what Medicare does not cover. I would be morally remiss if I didn't show you what Medicare does not cover. I have to show you what it's not going to do. And then I also say this to people. I say this all the time. And if you've ever been to the turning65advisor.com, that's one of my websites, one of me and Jim's websites. We're on that website together. And at the top of our website, the slogan is educate your customers. You'll never have to sell them a thing. Because when we educate our clients and help them understand that need, we're not really gonna have to sell them anymore. We structure everything in a way where they understand that that is a need because they've been educated by you. But if we're not educators, we're sellers. And guess what, guys? People don't like to be sold. People don't want to be sold. Being sold, I mean, I'm kind of a weird guy. I actually get sort of a cool feeling when I'm sold something if I felt like I needed it. And I'm like, man, that guy sold me. Like, I'm sold. Let's do this. But I'm typically never sold on something unless I'm educated. So we need to educate our clients. That way, our clients don't feel like we're just trying to sell them because people don't like that feeling. Okay, so we've now explained to our clients that we are an educator. We've explained to them that we educate our clients. We don't try to sell them. And then I always tell my clients as well that it is important to buy what you're buying and know what you're buying, but it's also important to know what you're not buying. And it's important to know why you're not buying it. So we have a lot of customers who are not buying products, and here's why they're not buying them: because you're not proposing them. They're not buying them because you're not presenting them. They're not buying them because you're not offering them. You're not showing them. You're not educating them, and you're not teaching them. And I'm saying you generally. I'm not looking straight at you personally and saying you're not doing this. I'm just saying in general in our industry, our clients are not purchasing these products because you're not proposing them, you're not educating them, you're not showing them. Most of our clients are not refraining from purchasing these products because we're not showing it to them, or because we're showing it to them and they're deciding they don't want it. Okay, they're not purchasing it because we're not showing them. So I also tell my clients it's incredibly important, Mrs. Jones, that you know what it is that you're signing up for and you know why, but it's also equally important that you know what you did not sign up for and you know why you didn't sign up for it. So my goal here today, Mrs. Jones, is not to just show you what you're signing up for. My goal is to help you understand what you're not signing up for and why. That is very, very important. Think of it like when you're buying a home and you're shopping for houses. You know exactly why you bought that house. But guess what? You know exactly why you didn't buy that house and that house and that house and that house. You know why you did not buy those homes. You know very well why you didn't buy them. You know what turned you off about them. You know why you couldn't see yourself living in that home. Your clients deserve that same opportunity when it comes to the insurance products that they purchase. They deserve to know why they're buying the one they're buying, but why they're not buying the ones they're not. And it shouldn't be because you didn't show that house, you didn't show that product. So, Mrs. Jones, my goal is to show you what you're purchasing and also show you what you're not and why. Okay. So, we're letting her know that we're educating, that we're going to be educating her through this process. Do you have long-term care? No. Okay, so we've talked about this. Medicare doesn't cover long-term care. Mrs. Jones, I'm not saying buy a long-term care policy today. I'm just saying we need to be mindful of this, that this is something that's not going to be covered. Okay. Then we would say a couple of questions here for you, Mrs. Jones. Have you done any research? This is one of my favorite questions to ask. Have you done any research? We're writing this down. I love hearing the research that my clients have done because that gives that client that opportunity to really engage in this meeting. And I'll tell you, I get clients, I've gotten several clients who have like, yeah, I've done a lot of research, bam, 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 bam. And I'm sitting here chuckling and I'll make a joke. I'll be like, wow, do you want a job? Because you've done so much research on the front end that I mean, you've kind of got a lot of the Medicare basics and the A and the B and the D and the Part C plans and the Med Sup plans. You've kind of got it all figured out. You don't necessarily need me for that. There are a lot of things that you do need me for, but holy smokes, you don't need me for those things. You've got all that stuff figured out. You're doing great. Okay, have you done any research? Yes, I have. I've looked at this carrier. I've looked at this carrier. A lot of times we're going to hear from people, yeah, I like United Healthcare. Why do you like United Healthcare? Oh, well, because I did Google and they were the first ones that popped up, and they're United Healthcare and AARP, and it's a big brand. Okay, Mrs. Jones, my goal is to help you understand what you're not buying and why. So I'm not saying we're not going to buy UHC today. We might sign you up for UHC today. Sounds like you got a good feeling about UHC. I don't mind that. I'm good with that. But we need to make sure that you know what you're turning down. Because with every yes that you give me, Mrs. Jones, you're giving a no to something else. Okay. I use that one too. Make sure you write that down and talk to your clients about this process. With every yes, you're going to be saying no to something else. We need to know what you're saying no to. Okay. With every yes you give, you say no to something else. So what I mean by that is if someone says, or vice versa, with every yes you give, you're saying no to something. Or with every no you give, you're saying yes to something. So Mrs. Jones, when you say yes to UHC, you're saying no to Allwell. You're saying no to Blue Cross Blue Shield. You're saying no to Devoted Health. You're saying no to Bright Health. You're saying no to Cigna. You're saying no to whoever it is when you say yes to UHC. When you say no to long-term care insurance, you are saying yes to the possible exposure you could have if you were to bite the dust and you were to need some help around the home and you were to need to either A, pay for that or suffer through it. You're saying yes to that possibility when you say no to the insurance coverage. And the no might have way more validity to it. It might have way more girth and way more value in the no than the yes. I'm okay with that. But we need to know what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to. We need to formulate a list of yes and no's. These are really, really big things. We need to make sure that we're doing this in our fact finding. You guys, I have what's called an introductory meeting. My introductory meetings, when I meet with a client for the first time, when I'm meeting with them for the first time, you guys, that meeting is 2 hours long. And I tell them, be prepared for 2 hours because we're going to be asking a lot of questions. I'm going to be helping educate you through these things. I'm going to be finding out what kind of an insurance shopper you are. We're going to figure out the yeses and the nos. We're going to figure out what you're saying yes to, what you're saying no to, and we're going to help you understand what Medicare does cover and what Medicare doesn't cover. I am creating this big list of what type of person this person is. Now, my fear is we have agents that are going into a home and they're saying, this person is happy with their insurance plan that they have. And they didn't get a sale. And it's like, well, wait a second. We just had this conversation yesterday with Bob in a meeting that we were having. Okay. When someone says, I'm happy with my plan, well, I'm happy with the coverage that I currently have. I understand that you're happy with the coverage that you currently have. So when you hear someone say this is just a quick objection and a response to that objection here really quickly, and then we're going to go back in through the fact finding. Because while we're doing fact finding, it's inevitable that we're going to get that client that's going to say, I'm happy with the plan that I have. I'm happy with the plan that I have. We've all gotten that. If you've never gotten that, I'm happy with the plan I have. If you've never had a client say that, then just go ahead and disconnect from the meeting. Because obviously this meeting's not for you. We've all gotten it, okay? And I've told my clients time and time again, hey, you're happy with the plan that you have? That's awesome. What is it that you like about it? And then I look at my paper and I'm ready to write. What is it that you like about it? Because sometimes here's what you're going to find. You're going to find people that are just brand loyal. And I don't necessarily have anything against brand loyalty. I really don't, guys. Okay, I am brand loyal in my own personal life. I'm brand loyal in my own personal life. I do not shop at Lowe's. I shop at Home Depot. I do not buy Ford. I buy GM, period. It's just the way I am. I am a brand loyalist. And that's okay. You're allowed to be stubborn. You're allowed to be a brand loyalist. But we need to figure out what it is. Is it just pure brand loyalty, or is there something about that plan? And then if someone was to say to me, I'm very happy with my plan that I have. Okay, what is it that you like? And they either are or are not going to have some things for you. You need to be writing these things down. Or I'm typing these things in my fact finder because my fact finder in my CRM is electronic. So I'm typing these notes in. This is what they like about their plan. This is what they don't. This is why they love their plan. They say they're happy with their plan because of this, and this. Why do you like your plan? That person might say, I really like my plan because my plan has all my doctors. Okay. All right. So now we're getting somewhere. We realize they like their plan because their plan has all their doctors. I might say, I really love my new GMC Acadia because my GMC Acadia has all-wheel drive. Okay. And stability control. And it has 4-wheel drive. It has It has sport mode, it has off-road mode, it has winter and ice and snow mode. And someone might say, hey man, the Ford Explorer has all those same things though. So I understand that you like that car for that reason, but is it possible? And I say this to my clients all the time. I understand that you're happy with your plan, but let's take time to consider the fact that I'm not suggesting that your plan is a bad plan. I'm not saying you have a bad plan. I'm not saying don't be happy with your plan. It sounds like your plan's been doing very well for you. However, if there was another plan that also had your prescriptions covered, but the copays were even lower, and I know that you're getting low copays, but what if they were even lower? And what if, I know you have a $0 premium, but what if instead of a $0 premium, what if you actually got $50 a month back on your Social Security check? I know you like that zero premium, but what if we could even do better than that? What if we lowered your premium? What if we lowered your check by increased your Social Security check by $50 a month? So we put that back in your pocket. Okay. What if all of your doctors were in other plans too? And what if your copays were lower with another plan? I'm not saying that your plan is bad, but I am saying that it is possible that there could be another plan out there that is even better, that could make you even happier. And I just want to make sure that we're open-minded to this idea. I'm not saying that there's another plan that's better. I'm not saying that your plan is bad. I just want to be open-minded to the idea that there might be a better plan. It might have lower costs. And we want to be honest with ourselves and know that there's a possibility that we could work with another plan that could be even better. And if there's not, then you're going to stay exactly where you belong, right where you're at, if that's where you belong. Well, again, I'm really happy with my plan. Okay. But in the beginning, we asked this person, what would you change about your plan if you could? And a lot of times these people are going to say, well, I mean, give them some ideas. Okay, well, you have a copay when you go to a hospital, right? Yeah, I have a copay when I go to the hospital. Okay, well, I mean, you've only been to the hospital once in the last couple of years because, we've talked about your health. Also, make sure, by the way, we didn't go over that, and that's my fault. How's your health been lately? So we need to make sure. If there's one thing you could change about your plan, what would it be? You want to also make sure, how's your health been over the last year or two? Have you had any hospital stays? Have you had any major issues, cancer, heart attack, stroke? Tell me how your health has been. You need to take those notes down. And then in the future, later on down the meeting, you're going to say, well, we talked about if there was anything that you didn't like about your plan, if you could change it, what would it be? Maybe that hospital copay, right? Or maybe that cancer treatment costs, right? You're paying 20% for chemotherapy, radiation costs with your Medicare Advantage plan, or you've got a Medicare supplement and you're complaining about that high premium. We need to start figuring out what the pressure points are for this person. If there is anything you want to change about your plan, what would it be? You told me you've got that high hospital copay, and that if you're not complaining about it, but you told me, you asked me, you wanted me to put together a list. So I guess if I could get rid of that hospital copay, I would. Perfect. Give them some hints. They might not be able to think of this on their own. Well, what if there was no hospital copay? Yeah, that would be nice. It'd be nice if there was no hospital copay. Perfect. No hospital copay. How about what if the dental benefits were better? Yeah, that would be cool too. It'd be nice if there was some better dental. Or I've got great dental with my plan. It's been really good to me. Okay, so that's not one of them. You like your dental. So that's one of the things that you like about your plan. You like your dental. So now we know they told you they like the dental. Now we know we can't change their plan if we're going to downgrade the dental benefits because they're happy. They've told us that. Okay. We are building a case and a file. Okay, we're detectives here. So now we've gotten a big list of all the do's and don'ts and the yeses and the no's, the things that they're willing to say yes to, the things that they're willing to say no to. And the things that when they say no to these things, we know they're saying yes to those. And when we know they're saying yes to these things, we know they're saying no to those things. We've talked about those things. Okay. And this is where I'm going to give you a couple of cases, two totally different scenarios where I was able to get some supplemental product sales on clients after I've built this case. I'm going to give you two scenarios here. And we're going to talk about these things and we're going to figure out how we can actually apply these in real life now that we've done a good fact-finding process. Because guys, this process, I kind of flew through it and it was kind of all over the place. It was kind of scrambled because every scenario is different. But this process here takes me about 40 minutes. this fact-finding process. Also, I mean, there are things that I skipped here because it's not really going to be meant for this meeting. Hang on, I'm going to shut the door real quick. So there are things that are not meant for this meeting, like questions like, do you have any life insurance? How long have you been paying for it, etc. So, but we're not going to go into that today. So now that we've gotten our fact finding, let's talk about two totally different scenarios in which I was able to actually get sales on these clients here for these types of products. Sale number one, I met with a husband and a wife just yesterday, okay, where I was meeting with them on the phone. And I did exactly what we talked about in our last meeting and in the meeting before. And this is the easiest way, in my opinion, to get a sale on these types of plans, where I had a husband and a wife, and they're both going on to Medicare. They're both going to be brand new to Medicare. They're going on to an Advantage plan. This is going to be an easy offer, right? Easy Medicare Advantage plan sale. They've decided that that's what they want. They've decided they wanted an MAPD plan. We've gone through, what do you want to say yes to? What do you want to say no? We've determined that they want to say yes to things like dental and things like vision, and they want to say yes to things like over-the-counter benefits, and they want to say yes to, they're willing to say yes to a network. And because they're willing to say yes to a network, they're willing to also say yes to more narrowed down, some restrictions, but they're willing to say no to a big, huge Medicare supplement premium. That's the way they want to structure their plan. That's what they want to say no to. They want to say no to a big premium. They want to say yes to more bells and whistles, but they're also saying yes to some restrictions. So we narrowed it down that that's what they're looking for and that's what they're okay with. That's the type of insurance buyer that they are. And so I said to them, I asked them the question. This name was Mushtaq. Okay, I said, Mushtaq, question for you. We've got a few options for you. I've got multiple plans that are going to cost you $0 a month in premium. Okay. He said, okay. And I said, with those $0 a month premiums, we're going to have hospital copays. We're going to have, I've looked up your physicians, Mushtaq, and your physicians, and this is a real life scenario. I said, Mushtaq, I've looked up your physicians, and there's only one plan that your primary doctor, your cardiologist, your oncologist, and all of these doctors that you've been working with over the years, there's only one plan that I can find that all of them work with. Well, there's two. But the one that has the lower copays and the one that's got the most flexibility for an HMO is going to be the Aetna Premier Plan. Okay. The Aetna Premier Plan, and that's their premier HMO plan that sits on a big national network. The copays are a little bit higher. It's not their Prime Plus plan. Their Prime Plus plan is a real competitive one with much lower copays. And I said, so Mushtaq, it's a $0 premium plan. The copays in the hospital are $250 a day, days 1 through 7. So I said, so Mushtaq, here's the deal. If you land in the hospital, you're saying yes to this plan. It's a good plan, right? You like it. It's a $0 copay at the PCP. It's a $30 copay at the specialist. It's a $45 copay for physical therapy. It's got a $4,700 maximum annual out-of-pocket cap. So Mushtaq, this is a great plan. But when we say yes to this plan, we're saying yes to a possible $2,000 hospital copay. When we say yes to this plan, we are saying yes to, if you get physical therapy and it's $45 and you're doing that times, you got 15 visits of physical therapy, Mushtaq, you're saying yes to a $600+ bill. Okay. Mushtaq, we are saying yes to a $4,700 annual out-of-pocket cap if something happens and we get cancer. So I'm not trying to backpedal you on this plan, but Mushtaq, question for you, because we wanted the bells and whistles, we wanted the dental, we wanted the vision, we wanted the HMO network, but this plan has no referrals, so we built that case. We know why we're saying yes to the Aetna plan, but we know what baggage we're saying yes to now. We know what liabilities we have built within this plan. So my question for you is, Mushtaq, if you could have a $0 premium plan, I have two plans available for you. I've got this particular Aetna plan, and it's got the bells and whistles. It's got the OTC. It's got the dental built onto the plan. It's got the vision built onto the plan. It's got the hearing aid benefits built on the plan. It's got all your doctors. So it's got those bells and whistles that you like. It's $0 a month. I've got another plan. It's the same exact plan. It's the same plan from Aetna. It's got the bells and whistles that you want. It's got the dental. It's got the vision. It's got the hearing. It's got the doctors that you want. It's got the network that you want, but it's $50 a month. But with that $50 a month, that $2,000 hospital copay is zero. With that $50 a month, that $4,700 annual out-of-pocket maximum, if you get diagnosed with cancer, is gone. If that $600 cost that you're going to have if something happens and you get hurt and you need physical therapy is zero. So Mushtaq, if I could get you a $0 plan, that's going to cost you $2,000 in the hospital, $4,700 if you get cancer, $600 if you need physical therapy, or a plan that's $50 a month and it's zero at the hospital, zero for cancer, zero for physical therapy, and it's the same platform, same bells and whistles, but all those things drop down to zero and you're paying $50 a month. Which one would you take? And Mushtaq said, oh, these were literally his exact words. And it's not going to go this way every time for you guys. It's not going to go this way every time for you guys. But his exact words were, come on, Brent, that's a silly question. There's no question. There's no question about it. That's silly. Well, I would go with the $50 a month plan. It's just, you'd be a fool if you didn't. Those were his exact words. It's silly, Brent. That's an easy question. I would go with a $50 a month plan. So that's a done deal. So Brent, are you saying you have that plan for me? Yes, Mushtaq, I do have that plan for you. I ran the price. For your wife, it's $48 a month. For you, it's $52 a month. So if we blend them together, it's $50 a piece. And he goes, perfect. So it's $50 a month for me, and I don't have that hospital copay. And if I get diagnosed with cancer, it's not going to cost me anything up to my annual out-of-pocket maximum cap. So that's covered. That's wiped away. My physical therapy is going to be wiped away, and it's going to cost me and my wife each $50 a month. So we're looking at $100 a month each. And I said yes. And he goes, and I still get the dental, still get the vision, still get the hearing benefits. I'm still going to get the Aetna plan. I'm still going to have a $0 copay at my primary doctor, $30 copay at my specialist. All that stays the same. And I said, all that stays the same. And he said, dude, let's do this. Let's do it. That sounds great. Because what he didn't want to do is he didn't want to say yes to $130 a month for a med sup plus $20 a month for a drug plan for him. $120 a month for a med sup for his wife, $20 a month for a drug plan for her. No dental, no vision, no hearing, he didn't want to say yes to that. He's willing to spend a couple of bucks if it's going to get him better benefits, but he was not willing to say yes to that. He wanted to say no to that so that he could say yes to an MAPD plan. So what I did was I said, I got two MAPD plans. And obviously this is not really the way the plans are structured, but I said, I got two plans, Mushtaq. I got one that's 0 and one that's 50. Here's what the one that's 50 gives you. No hospital copay, no cost out of pocket for cancer, no cost out of pocket for physical therapy. And here's what those costs can be. You're saying yes to $2,000 in the hospital. You're saying yes to $4,700 out of pocket for cancer. You're saying yes to $600 if you need physical therapy. Let's say no to those things. Let's say no to those things. It'll cost you $50 a month for that plan. It was an easy sale for him. So we went into the Aetna website. I already had the quote built because what I do, guys, is I'm building a case. Remember, I'm building that case. So when I am going through my plan and I'm going through Plan Finder and I'm putting together the MAPD plans and I'm looking up their doctors and putting their doctors, figuring out what networks their doctors are in, figuring out what plans their doctors work with, I'm consciously in my mind already thinking, what's this guy's age? What's it going to cost for an indemnity plan that's going to this and that and this and that? And I'm on my computer logging into Aetna's website simultaneously at the same time, plugging his information into that system too. It's not an afterthought. It is a combo sale. It's not an afterthought. I'm not selling an Advantage plan and rolling them an Advantage plan. And oh, by the way, let me try to sell you this too. I'm giving them options. You could have this or you could have this. Which one do you want? You let them choose. And you're educating them along the way at what they're saying yes to. You're saying yes to these exposures. You're saying yes to $2,000 in the hospital. That's what you just said yes to. But we could say no to that with this plan, yes to that with this plan. Which do you want? Okay, moving on. That was the first case. The second case, I had a husband and a wife at the beginning of the week. And they just moved here to Arizona. Their PDP was no longer available. They're being dropped from their PDP. They need to find a new PDP. They moved outside of their plan service area. They have an SEP to enroll in an MAPD plan. okay? Because they're being dropped from their drug plan. They have an SEP to enroll in an MAPD plan, okay? A lot of people don't know that. So anyways, moving on. So they have MedSups. These clients were in a situation where their Medicare supplement has just dramatically been increasing in price, and they just don't want to pay that anymore. They don't want to pay that anymore. He was paying $289 a month for his MedSup and 240, I think it was 240 something for hers. So we got to look at that. So I said, okay, I said, Darlin, I think is his name. I said, Darlin, look, $289 a month for your MedSup, 240, I think it was 240 or 245. We'll just call it 245. 245 for your wife's MedSup, plus $20 a month for your drug plan, plus $20 a month for her drug plan. Okay. So we're actually looking at $265 a month for your wife and $309 a month for your plan, Darlin. Okay. So total, we are looking at $309 a month plus $245 a month. I mean, goodness gracious, we're looking at 3, 5, 6, 7. Holy smokes. We're looking at $674 a month, or we're looking at $474 a month, $574 a month, close to $600 a month. So what I did with this couple was I said, okay, what kind of buyers are you guys? Who are your doctors? Well, we're new to Arizona. We don't really have any doctors. What do you like about your plan? Well, we like that our plan doesn't require referrals from us. We think that's great. We hate referrals, Brent. Don't talk to us about an HMO, Brent. We don't want an HMO, Brent. Keep us away from an HMO, Brent. Okay, perfect. You know what's my favorite question to ask? And I've asked this question multiple times throughout our meeting here and our training here today, guys. I ask questions. Be a professional asker. Keep me away from an HMO, Brent. Awesome. I'm glad you mentioned that. So I'm going to do my best to try to keep you away from the plans that you don't want anything to do with. I just want to make sure I do my job well. So can you tell me what it is about HMOs that you don't like? And I got my pen and I'm ready to write. What is it about HMOs that you don't like? Because I want to make sure that I don't upset you by talking about, because there might be certain things. I might talk about a plan that's not an HMO, but it's similar to an HMO in that respect. I don't want to upset you. So let's go. Tell me about the things that you don't like about HMOs. Oh, I hate referrals. I don't want referrals. I don't want to deal with referrals on HMOs. And I've heard horror stories about HMOs and people dying on HMOs. You know, my dad back in the 70s in Boston, Massachusetts was on an HMO and he just withered away and died. Okay. Well, it's not the 80s anymore. It's not the 70s anymore. Okay. So we know that you fear that there's a risk. There's a risk of care not being approved. We're writing this down. Care not approved. Okay. You got referrals. You don't like those. Okay. So, and now we've gathered our list. You guys, I literally say it like this. I say it just like this to my clients. I say, okay, Jan, so HMOs are not the same as they used to be. I'm not trying to sell you an HMO. Caution, I'm not trying to sell you an HMO, but Jan, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. It doesn't sound to me like your beef is really with HMOs. Sounds like your beef is with being on an insurance plan that's going to approve your care, not having referrals, and not being stuck with absorbently high costs. Am I right? That's it. That we want nothing to do with a plan that's going to stick us with high costs. We want nothing to do with a plan that's going to make us get referrals, and we want nothing to do with a plan that's going to start denying our care. That's why we're still paying $600 a month for our Medicare supplements, because we don't like that premium. But for crying out loud, we don't want to be stuck with care not approved, having to get referrals, and absorbently high costs. Okay. So that's where I go, Jan. Do you know what $600 a month times 12 is? Okay. We're looking at $7,200 a year. Just keep that in mind, Jan. $7,200 a year. So you guys are paying $7,200 a year so that you don't get stuck with high costs. And many of these Medicare Advantage plans, we don't have to look at HMOs. We have PPOs too, but many of these Medicare Advantage plans have $3,200, $3,500, $4,000 annual out-of-pocket costs. So let's say you bit the dust really bad. the insurance company is on the hook for everything after $4,000 a year. You're paying $7,200 out of your pocket right now before you get any care. Before you pay for a red cent of anything, $7,200 is what you guys are committed to for the year. Okay. You just moved to Arizona. So you don't really have any doctors here, right? No, we don't. We have no doctors here. We got to get reestablished with everybody. Okay. So the whole argument of like, will my insurance take my doctor? We're not really worried about that because we got to find doctors anyways, right? And by the way, there's Medicare Advantage plans out there that have humongous networks of doctors. Huge. There are plans out there where it's really hard to find a doctor that doesn't take that plan, like the Aetna Premier plan or the UHC Plan 1, right? Those plans, their networks are just humongous. Or the Humana 00727 or 082 or whatever the freaking heck it's called anymore, for crying out loud. They've changed the plan code so many times. But Humana's got that plan with that massive network. UHC has one. Aetna has one, right? So we've got plans that they take doctors all over the place, Jan. And by the way, the Aetna Prime Plus plan, and this is the reason why I sell so much Aetna, Jan, the Aetna Prime Plus plan or the Aetna Premier plan sits on a national network of doctors. So the network isn't an Arizona network. It's a national network. It excludes Hawaii and California, but it's a national network. You got doctors across the whole country. You can go to you go to Texas, you go to Washington, you go to Wyoming, you go get care, and you're in network as long as you see a doctor that takes Aetna. So keep that in mind. That plan has a $4,700 annual out-of-pocket max. Worst case scenario, you fall apart. $4,700 is your worst case scenario, but it's going to be really, really hard to hit that because here's why, Jan. Here's the reason why it's going to be really hard to hit that because I am going to be saving you guys. $200 a month. How are you going to save us $200 a month? Now, remember, guys, this is because I'm gathering my notes. And while I'm gathering my notes and while I'm preparing things, I'll even let my clients know. You guys, please excuse my silence. I'm sitting here on my computer. I'm doing my thing. If you guys could please excuse my silence, it's probably now that I've gathered a lot of information, I'm just going to be doing some research. So now would be a good time to maybe go to the bathroom, get a drink or whatever, because I'll probably be quiet for the next couple of minutes. Please excuse me. And then I'm gathering my details. I'm pulling together my quotes. Boom, boom, boom. I'm punching them away on my computer. Don't be afraid to be quiet in the appointment for a few minutes. You're a professional. They understand. Just say, hey, please excuse my silence for a minute. I'm going to be pulling together your guys' information. If you have any questions, I'm right here. Hope you don't mind. Oh, yeah. Take your time, Brent. Perfect. I've never had a client say to me, I'm not comfortable with that, Brent. I can keep talking. I've never had a client say that. Okay. So you're pulling your information together, and we know that their premiums on a monthly basis, right? What were their premiums on a monthly basis? Their premiums on a monthly basis were like $500 a month. So you say, I'm going to save you $200 a month. I'm going to save you $300 a month. How are you going to do that, Brent? In this client's case, I was going to save them $200 a month. Okay. And their premiums were a little over $500. So his premium was going to be $150 a month. Her premium was going to be $150 a month. And I said, well, here's what I got for you. I've got an Aetna Medicare health plan. It's got dental. And as soon as I said that, they were like, oh my gosh, it's got dental on it. Thank God, we're tired of paying cash for everything. I said, it's got dental on it. It's got $1,200 per year of hearing aid benefits. It's got a national network. It doesn't require referrals to specialists. Hallelujah. No referrals required to specialist doctors. National network, as I've already said. It's got over-the-counter products benefits built onto it. When you go to the hospital, you pay nothing. When you get cancer, you're going to pay nothing. You're going to be out of pocket nothing. If you need physical therapy, you're going to be out of pocket nothing. Your primary care doctor copay is $0. Your specialist doctor, you're going to pay $30. I mean, I'm saving you guys $200 a month, right? So how often are you guys going to the doctor? Oh, Brent, that's nothing. You're saving us $200 a month. We're not going to the doctor that much. I've only got one specialist and my husband's got none. Perfect. So I'm saving you guys $200 a month. But when you go to the specialist, you're going to pay $30. Yeah, that's no big deal. Okay. So Brent, what's all this going to cost us? I'm saving you guys $200 a month. It's going to cost you guys $300 a month, and right now you guys are paying over $500. So Brent, you're going to save us $200 a month, and I'll say, yep, I just put $2,400 a year back into your pocket. That's a small vacation. That's 2 mortgage payments. And your clients are going, wow, holy smokes. Now, here's what I did, guys. I mean, and at $150 a month, I got them more than just a hospital indemnity. I said, hey, you know what Medicare doesn't cover? Because we talked about those things. Medicare doesn't cover long-term care, right? Your Medicare supplement doesn't cover long-term care. So if someone's coming to your home to take care of you guys because something happens, this plan is going to pay $200 a day for up to 6 months. $200 a day for 6 months of care here at home. And they were like, wow. I built them a plan that covered the $200 a day for home care, covered their hospital copay, kicked them out $5,000 if they got diagnosed with cancer. They have a $4,700 out-of-pocket cap. It kicks them out $5,000 lump sum. It's cap covered, right? And if they don't hit their cap, they're pocketing the rest of that money. It's covering their physical therapy benefits. And it's costing them 150. It was roughly 150 bucks a month each. I'm saving them $300 a month. I got 2 new to Medicare Advantage sales. I made $1,000 on the MAPD plans. I made $1,200 on the supplemental products. You guys, I made $2,500, just about $2,500 in one appointment selling 4 products, and I saved them $200 a month. How are we not doing this? Where did we go wrong when we started turning our nose up at the idea of doing these types of combo sales? See, if I had talked to these clients and I had said, hey, I'm going to save you $500 a month, but yeah, there's that big hospital copay, the daunting copay. There's that $4,700 annual out-of-pocket max. You get diagnosed with cancer, you're going to pay that. But worst case scenario, it's only going to be $4,700. But that's what if both husband and wife have a bad year and they both hit that cap, $4,700 times 2. You're just trying to pull someone off of a MedSup onto an MAPD plan. Well, have you found out why they said yes to a MedSup? Did you ask them why they said yes to a MedSup? Because they might have said yes to a MedSup because they were saying no to a $4,700 annual out-of-pocket cap. They were saying no to $2,000 of hospital copays. They were saying no to $600 of physical therapy costs a couple times a year if they needed it. They may have said yes to that Medicare supplement because they were saying no to those things. But if we don't know that, and we just go in and try to pitch an MAPD plan without being prepared to cover those expenses and being prepared knowing what their no-go zones are, what their no's are going to be, you're not going to get the sale. You're not. And I'm not going to be surprised that you didn't get the sale because we're not presenting those products appropriately. Now, there are going to be customers you run into where a Medicare supplement really is the right fit. You got people running around the country. They live here half the time, live there half the time, and in between, they're traveling in their RV. They're going around. They've got dental from their retirement plan, or they pay cash and they don't care, and they really just want that convenience of that MedSup. Look, MedSups have their place in the world. I sell them. Keep selling them if they have their place in the world. But a lot of times when you guys are running into people who are paying high MedSup premiums and you can't sell them on an MAPD plan, it's because you're not structuring the sale properly. And it also could be that the people don't have, they medically are not going to qualify for the supplemental plan that we're talking about, like with Aetna, these hospital indemnities and these short-term care plans. They are medically underwritten, so they're going to have some health questions. So there's that too. And guess what, guys? You're going to go into homes and not get a sale. There are going to be times where you don't get one. Okay? Sour grapes. There are going to be times when you just don't get a sale. Big deal. It happens. I've had clients that I've been walking out of, well, they're not clients because I didn't sell them, but I did a lot of work. I did this fact finding. I spent 2 hours with them, didn't get anything. I'm walking out of their home and they say, Brent, I'm really, really sorry. You're a really great guy. I'm sorry you just couldn't get any business with us today. I really apologize. I feel bad. And I will tell these people, I've actually said this. It might be kind of silly, but I've said, hey, you see that GMC Acadia that I rolled up in out there? That would be a Cadillac if I sold every single person that I sat down with. But it's just not reality. I'm not going to sell every single person that I sit down with. I'm just not going to. Nobody is going to. But you got to weed through the bad and find the good. You got to dig for those diamonds. You have to. And if you're not asking, as Bob said, you're never going to get a yes if you're not asking. You have to ask. You have to weed through the no's and find the yeses. That's why we're talking about yeses and nos so much. So I did not go into the website and I did not actually build and bundle a quote because I don't really feel like I needed to in this case scenario. This was more of us figuring out our practice of mining for these opportunities, mining for these sales. I want to know what type of objections you guys are running into, what type of problems that you guys are running into, what you think are your guys' setbacks and why you can't get these sales. And also, I see that Jeff Woodruff is on the plan or is on the meeting. Jeff, I promised you I would have an answer for something that you asked last meeting. Jeff, you asked if the Aetna's hospital indemnity plan, if it covered observation. Yes, it does. It does cover observation. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and you guys all have the ability to unmute yourselves. So where are we missing something that can help you guys understand how to get these sales?
Hey, Brent, I just wanted to make a comment, if I may.
Yeah.
It's obvious that you know what you're talking about when it comes to the plans. You've educated yourself. And this is something, and I wish I could have coined this phrase. I've used it for over 20 years, and when I was in the car business and sales. And knowledge brings confidence. Confidence brings enthusiasm, and enthusiasm sells. You need to get your client enthusiastic about what you're doing. And by knowing what you're talking about and not having to, well, let me look this plan up and constantly looking up the information for each plan individually, it's obvious you know these off the top of your head. You and I were talking yesterday with this one agent because this client loved her Humana plan. And that was an objection that we get all the time, as you said, and this agent couldn't get around that. I wasn't privy to the conversation that he had with his client, obviously, but I'm assuming that he didn't say, well, yeah, that's a great plan. It has this, and this. I can really see why you love that plan. And then do like what you were saying and bring up, let's list off what you like and what maybe you don't like, and take it a step farther, and don't let that objection kill the whole process, because I'm pretty sure that's how that whole meeting got killed, was because he wasn't prepared for that objection. And the fact finding is something that I've always done ever since 2006 when I was a Farm Bureau agent, and it has a lot of value. I always ask, may I have permission to ask you these questions so I understand your needs better? I have never ever had a client say no. And it is a couple hour appointment. I can never get out of there either in less than that time period, because you're not only talking about business, but guess what else you're doing? You're just shooting the shit with them, basically, So
Yeah, you're getting to know them. You're getting to know them, and you guys are becoming acquainted.
Yeah, a lot of good information, Brent. Thank you.
Hey man, you're so welcome, Bob, and thanks for your constant good feedback. And Bob's right. That phrase is awesome. And knowledge brings confidence. Confidence brings enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is what sells. And so when you are enthusiastic about something, I mean, listen, we have all run into people who are super enthusiastic about something that they really actually don't know much about. It happens, right? So that can happen too. But let me explain something to you guys. I did not become very fluid on this product, on these lists of products. I didn't become very fluent on these products by going in and just saying, oh, well, I got to do a training on these products. I'm going to go study them. I became very fluent on these products by getting clients' details, building a case, seeing how the product fit for a client, seeing the price, saying, wow, I can't believe these benefits, and then reviewing the product in greater detail, because then it started to make sense how well the product worked. I wasn't just going on the website and diving in and studying the product. I don't really learn that way. I learn hands-on. So I would get a client's case. I would go home, I would come back for a second meeting, and I'd have this proposal. Eventually, I got to a point where I was able to do that in one meeting, but it took a while. It took some time and some educating myself and some practicing with clients' cases of putting these products together. Or, and you want to know what, guys? You know what I used to do when I would have clients that had premiums or copays, hospital copays that were increasing on their MAPD plan? Instead of calling them and getting them to switch their MAPD plan to a plan that's got a lower hospital copay, I would just call them and I would go, Jan, here's the deal. Your hospital copay is going up on your plan. And we've switched 3 times in the last 5 years, right? Yeah, we have. We've switched 3 times in the last 5 years. Why do we keep doing this, Jan? Because your premium keeps going up and then you switch and the premium goes up. Do we really want to keep disrupting your life? I got a better idea. I got a plan that's $25 a month and you're never going to have a hospital copay again. How does that sound? And she's like, oh, well, I'll just keep my plan now and add that $25 plan and it pays my hospital copay. Yes, bingo. And I would just go through my clients. I would just sell those because they're controlling their future at that point. I'm not saying I did that every time. I had some clients say no. I had some clients not interested. I had some clients I couldn't get a hold of. And then I had some clients that medically didn't qualify because these plans are medically underwritten. There's questions. However, if you go through AEP and you get 25 or 30 of these products, you write 25 or 30 of them, and you make an additional $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 that year, that season, who's going to say no to that? Who's going to scoff at that? Everybody would have had a much better season if we had structured our sales process better, because we would be selling these products. So I want to just go ahead and point something out, that we have a lot of scenarios where we've got agents right now today that are going into homes and they're not getting sales. And they're not getting sales for 2 main reasons. 1, they couldn't get an MA sale. 2, they're not offering these products. They're not offering anything like them. And if they had offered these products, they could have doubled their commission and gotten both sales, because one sale would have solidified the other. Sometimes, not every time, guys, not every time, but sometimes you will run into scenarios where you won't get one sale without the other. You need both of the products to get the sale sometimes. Sometimes you're only going to get one of them. Sometimes they're going to say no to one of them. Sometimes it'll just be the supplemental product. Sometimes it'll be just be the MAPD. Sometimes it'll just be a med sup. That's fine. It's going to happen. It happens to me. It happens to Jim. It happens to Jeff. It's no big deal. But there are going to be times, guys, where you won't get any sale unless you present both. And then you'll get both. Because one sale solidifies the other. One product solidifies and validates the existence of both. They only coexist in some scenarios. Okay, it's really important to understand. So we are treading at about an hour. We have a little bit of leftover time. So I have a few ideas for what our training is going to be like for next week. However, if there's anybody that has any bright ideas, I'm happy to take my ideas and push them off 2 weeks so that we can cover and approach something that maybe someone here has an idea for. Does anybody have anything that they want to say, any questions they want to ask, any trainings that they would like to recommend that we do? Okay, nobody. Well, then here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to cut it, because I hope you guys have all found this useful and valuable. I'm not seeing anything on the chat. I'm not seeing, as usual, we're going to upload this training onto YouTube. And if you guys want to just go run through it, you guys are welcome to do it. I know these trainings are about an hour long. I have heard in the industry time and time again that training shouldn't be more than a half hour long. And I say, if you are really serious about your business, you're going to take your business seriously, you want to be real. There are, you know what, the biggest salespeople in the world, the people who run the biggest enterprises and are the most successful people, they sit in 3-week-long trainings, 6 hours a day, 5 days a week for 3 weeks. I don't even, so an hour-long training is no big deal. We're going to load it back up onto YouTube. It'll be up on there by the end of the day or tomorrow morning, probably. We'll make sure that the premiere gets out to you guys. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so that way you guys can see any updates, any training posts that we have on there. Thanks so much, you guys, for coming into this training. This is our fact finding and our mining for supplemental product sales. I hope you guys found some value in it. I know that there are certain parts of it that are repetitive, but our sales process is very repetitive. We have to go through those things. We have to knock on doors several times before a client finally opens that door for us. We got to sift through the yeses and the nos. We got to find out what our clients are saying yes to, what our clients are saying no to, because inevitably when they say yes to something, they're saying no to something else, and vice versa. It's our job to just make sure that we're presenting the products that are necessary for the client. And if you're not getting the sale, it could be because you are not presenting the right opportunities and the right products to the client. Thanks so much for being here, guys. Really appreciate you. God bless. We'll talk to you guys later.